Morning, everybody. Welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Kuntres Umayin. Kuntres Umayin Mammer Tes Vav. Start by giving tzedakah. Tzedakah shmekers agula. To give tzedakah, we should bring Mashiach already now. Which through that will bring back home all the hostages, and all the Eden will be safe. All the Eden around the world will be safe. All the sheker of Elam Haza, all the falsehood and the lying of this physical world from the concealment of godliness, which is really the source of all the lying and the falsehood, to the lying of falsehood in the whole situation in Eretz Yisroel. And the soldiers should be safe, and the hostages should be safe, and all the good things. And today we're going to focus on Aden bat Orin. That Aden bat Orin should be healthy and safe, and also for Yosef Yitzchak with Simcha, and he should also come home safe, back to his family. Okay, we're going to start Perek Base of Mammer Tes Vav, page 219 in the green version of Kuntres Mind. Basically, so we were saying yesterday that the way the neshama, the way a person was created is very different than the way the rest of the creations. Every other creation, the neshama and the guf came basically together. Hashem said, and it was made. When it comes to a person, we were created of min adama. We were inanimate, dirt, formed into a person, and then a neshama came into it after. So seemingly that's a negative. We're on a lower level than the rest of the creations. They came neshama b'guf, straight away done. We first is a guf, it's caused physical body, and then you have this neshama that comes later. So now we're going to discuss what's the difference and why is that better, actually, not worse, even though it seems it's worse. Okay, Perek Base. Now, the reason why Hashem created us in such a way different from all other creations, that our way of creation was the neshama coming afterwards into the body. All other creatures are created the way they are. Nivro. Adam nivra av min adama, and we were created earth from the ground. Nivra gufay. First we had a body, and then afterwards Hashem put in a neshama. This is not a negative thing. But on the contrary, this is an advantage. This is something special. This is a unique quality that we have. And this is b'chlal, an important lesson in life, that a lot of times in life, there's things that we look at as a negative in us, but many times they're actually a positive. We just don't recognize it. We're very hard on ourselves, hard to see it. But it's a perfect example. We can look at something that's very negative, that it seems to be worse, but in essence, it's much better. Let's see. Adam nivra. And also the fact that we're created from the dirt is not a negative thing, but it shows how great and how big the mile of our neshama is, how great our neshama is. Again, you could say to yourself, I come from the dirt. Dirt is the lowest, it's the worst. That's where I come from, that's where I am. I'm the lowest and lowest. But really, shows the biggest mile. And in simple sense, our struggles shown who we are. As like Shalom Ravashin said at the Shabbaton that we had this last year, he said, test from God is showing you have the ability to do things. So if you don't get tested, you're a nevach. Basically, if you don't get tested, it means you can't withstand any test. And therefore, when you get tested, you look at yourself like, it means I'm somebody, I'm worthy of being tested. Yeah, so this that will come from low level. You say, I have these issues. I struggle. That shows how much potential you have. Okay, so let's understand this a little bit. The idea is the hinne hadalad chalukos shbehem nechlekul kol hanivraim. the four elements that define. Oh no, so the four types of creations, which is vehem, you have inanimate like rocks. Shemeach, you have like plants and flowers. You have chai, you have animals. And people that speak. These are the four levels: rocks, vegetation, animals, and people. That the lowest level is inanimate. It doesn't show any life. Doesn't show any lifeness, anything. So you could never say that it's very hard to see within it godliness, because there's nothing there. Which is also synonymous with our physical world. The godliness is very non-apparent. Whereas the higher you go, the more godliness is revealed. And so it's much easier to recognize as godliness within us and within growing things. These things magically grow versus just inanimate things. So Shavu Chelik Ademim Chelik Yisrael in the highest level, Mushubachu Chelik Madaber, and we of course are much higher. Just if the world was full of rocks and that's it, nothing growing, and it just wouldn't be anything. Whereas in us, we are even greater than animals, that we can create things, we can make the world into a special place and help people and things like this. This is something special that animals can't really do. And for sure not the plants, and for sure not inanimate objects. And being that the person is the choice of creation, like we said yesterday, that we are the purpose of creation. The way our body is created is very different than all other creatures and for sure other animals, like we said yesterday. The gam guf etzem hachemer Hashem imenu barak Kadosh Baruch Hu as a guf ha'adam ava min hadama hagas b'yesa, even the physical body that we were created from, that was first created and then the neshama came into it, which is very coarse. This shows on the greatness of our neshama, which is on the ultimate exaltedness. Why? Why is the neshama so high? How does this prove, being that the body is so low, how does that prove the neshama is so high? Because whatever is higher, goes further lower. Yeah, and that's simple. Like you have, let's say, a wall, and the highest part of the wall falls furthest away, and the lowest part of the wall is much closer. It doesn't move much. And so, to being that we're created so physically low, without even a neshama, versus everyone else was created with a neshama. All other beings were created together. We were created without a neshama, which shows how much low it was. But it shows how much greater the neshama is. The neshama is being put into such a low body, which means how much it can fix and transform. Just like physically we see by Bekesa, like a wall, avanim, like we said before, the stones at the bottom of the wall, neflim, heim, heina, hine, create. When they fall, they're much closer to the wall. Whereas where at the head of the wall, the rocks fall, much further away from the wall. The higher it is, the further away it falls. This is now, let's understand this spiritually. Benishmas kol chai, so too with the neshama of every living creature. The nishmas ha'adam. He gavaya b'yeseh, being that our neshama is on a much higher level than all other neshamas. So lachein hinei nisan le'akadosh baruch hu guv mechemer av v'gas b'yeseh. Therefore, because our neshama is so great, he made our bodies so low. Because we have in our ability to refine the more cost. Meaning, let's say use an example of playing, let's say, a game. So you go to play a game, or let's say a sports game, whatever it is. So in order to make it a proper game, you match up people that are equally as good as each other to the best of your ability. So you're not going to put, let's say, a kid that's 10 years old that can barely play with someone that's 20 that's been playing for years and it's very good. It's not going to work. It doesn't. It's a mismatch. So what do? You take someone that's on the same level. So you take someone, if the person is very good, you put someone against them that's very good. So to here, the fact that the neshama is so high, if you'd put it in something that was less cost, it just wouldn't work. It would blow that thing out of the water, so to speak, and you just wouldn't be able to handle it, and it would be a mismatch. You need to have a perfect match, and therefore, being that the neshama is so high, so the body has to be so low, so they can counterbalance each other. Otherwise, it'd be too much gilui likus, and that's why also in our physical world is there's so much concealment of godliness, because if we had too much revelation of godliness, we wouldn't be able to withstand it. We wouldn't work. And so to here we're saying that the neshama is so great, therefore the body has to be so coarse. And meaning in simple sense, we can also say, when we look at ourselves and say, I'm so coarse, I'm so grub, I have so inclined to physicality, not to spirituality. I don't care so much about godliness and things like this. I care so much about physical things, about not coming to a God and watching and eating and talking and all whatever those things that are in the negative. So we could look at this. So we look at ourselves, we look at this and we say, this is a chisar and this is a lacking in us. And this means we're not good. But we have to recognize that's the case. It shows how great our neshama is. That even on me with my challenges, my neshama must have the ability to overcome this. And it's put specifically for this purpose, like we said before. Maybe you dal or you gimel. So we can, even when it looks bad, it's really good. And this is sort of what we're saying. And this is a recognition we have to have for ourselves. That I have it so hard. My neshama is so my goof is so hard. It makes it such a hard time for me to connect to godliness. That's because your neshama is so high. Yeah. Yeah, but can we look at the Indian neshamas and yeah. The liyos and neshamas Adam he gavaya b'yesel lechein he nisan l'kadosh baruch hu was a guf chum of gas b'yesel lefish b'keichel levayle zachas achemer hayesel of agas b'yesel, because that neshama has the ability to refine the most coarses of things. V'lachein, and therefore on the right b'muchash we see clearly b'tiv b'nei Adam, by the nature of people, the yesh ke'elu. There's people that have a lot of negative character traits. Even worse than animals. That animals that can trample and step on people. And they're very wise, these people. But it's for negative. To damage other person, it's like unfortunate to see in school sometimes like kids that like make fun of people and stuff like that, and people think of ways how to like really ruin kids' experiences and things like this, and people that are very negative, bring negative energy, and macht eng und schlecht den zweiten, it makes it bad and it hurts the other person. V'geizlim, and they steal and they kill to fulfill their own heart's desires. In general, this is coming from the body. This is the nature of the body, which is showing how bad the body can be. And that affects this negative and this badness of the body it reaches the neshama. Hainu hagvaras haguf ala nefesh, that the nefesh sheyaskil bischakim ech lahafik mizimeisav begzela ritzicha, that the body overcomes the neshama to convince itself and figure out ways of stealing and killing and all these negative things. Aval nefesh, but the neshama itself, the soul, he b'talchis hamayla. It's pure, pristine. It's very good. Ha'adam, it's in the ability of us, to raise up a center, keep on going up and up. The ma'aseh atov, in doing the right thing. Lagia ledargos aruchnis and association to reach the highest levels of spirituality. Okay, ha'ma'aseh hamuva bereishis chachma, like the story in Reishis Chachma. In Shar Ava Perak Daled, Be'echad Sheba Me'emek Hashiflus Haruchnius Lemailes Harum Haruchnius, from the lowest of levels to the highest of levels. I'll finish off with the story, and yeah, let's see. It's a little long. We'll go. Let's run quickly. This is the story. Rav Yitzchak of Aker wrote, one day, as a princess emerged from the bathhouse, an idler noticed and sighed loudly. Her will place me in her possession to do with her as I wish. This is how bad he was. That'll be in the cemetery, not here, responded the princess. So she was a feisty woman. Upon hearing this, the man's spirit soared, assuming that she meant to tell him to proceed to the cemetery and wait for her. So he thought, he was so involved in his own head, so he went to the cemetery, thinking she's going to meet him there. However, she didn't mean that at all. Rather, that in the cemetery, all are equal. The small and the big, the young and the old, the embarrassed and the honored, but nowhere else. For as a princess, the public could not come close to her. The idler got up and went to the cemetery and waited. Meanwhile, he set his mind on her and constantly pictured her appearance. He removed his thoughts from all other feelings and flooded his mind with her and her beauty. Day and night, he remained in the cemetery, eating, drinking, and sleeping there. If she won't come today, she'll come tomorrow, he said to himself. This went on for a long time. Now his immense separation from all physicality due to his constant thoughts about this one matter, coupled with his isolation and absolute craving, had a profound effect on him. Yes, he's been sitting in this cemetery, eating, drinking, staying away from people, so given over to his taiva, but because of this separation from everything else, his soul became separated from the physical and became bound up with the intellectual until he separated from every physical matter, even the princess, and became attached with Hashem. Because he sort of separated himself from everything, just from this one thing, he was able to overcome even that one thing, and then suddenly he was a kli for Elikus. After a few days, it left all physical feelings and yearnings only for God, for godly intellect. He became a devout worshipper, a holy man, and his prayers were accepted and his blessings effective. Many merchants would make a point of stopping by to receive his blessing, and he became famous. Beautiful story. And what's the lesson is that even the worst of worst that we have within ourselves, and we think it's the worst thing, can be the catalyst for the greatest thing. And it shows how great a Ma'ila and Hashem is. That even this person that is so disrespectful and is so foolish in his head, that when the princess says, "I'll see you in the grave," he thinks it means that she's going to go meet him there. That's how off he was. But because of the avodah that he did on himself, even for the wrong reason, nothing going to do with trying to connect to Hashem, but just because of the sensitivity that he brought upon himself, he was able to reattach himself to what's real and true. The mitzvah by all of us, we should, Baruch Hashem, we're on that level, but we should recognize that we should never look at ourselves negatively, and anything that's a challenge that we see negative that we think is pulling us back, realize it's a catalyst for great growth. Have an amazing day.